Hi, my name is Kerry. I am the face behind Practical Awareness for All, and my passion is to help overwhelmed women explore their emotions and their thought patterns through, exploring their mind, their body, their soul, and how to support and regulate their nervous system. So I created Practical Awareness for All because I lived in burnout for a very, very long time. I was a primary school teacher for 15 years. I had 2 young children. I was a mum, I was a wife, I had a home to run. I was trying to be everything for everybody. And in the end, it just sent me into burnout. So when I figured out a way of how to get back to centre and feel more myself again, I wanted to create something for women who are or who feel like they've been in that situation as well. Because what I've realised over the years is there is nothing out there that teaches us, or there's nothing that explicably teaches us about our minds, about our thoughts, about how to support ourselves and keep ourselves regulated. So I created Practical Awareness for that reason, so that you can learn about where them patterns come from, through your thoughts and through how they show up in your body. And Practical Awareness will take you through that in a very slow and steady way, step by step, in very accessible, small, bite-sized ways that are easily translated and integrated into your daily life. Because what I realised was that knowledge and understanding is absolutely amazing, but without application, it's useless. It's absolutely useless. So for me, I was already really, really busy. So for me to go out there and look for things, what's going to help, it was too overwhelmed. I didn't have the time to do all of the reading and listen to all the podcasts. I didn't have them type of minutes. So when I created Practical Awareness for All, it was to make it accessible to the overwhelmed woman and to help her understand that it is the little tiny things that you do every single day that over time compound, and that is what's going to make the biggest difference in your life. So everything that I've created is a journey of how you do that, but in really easy, useful, practical ways, because self-awareness is just step one. It really is about learning about yourself at a much, much deeper level than just the surface. And once you understand how you're functioning, why you're functioning, then that's when you can start to change it little by little every single day. One of the biggest things for me that helped me understand myself at a much deeper level is that I really found astrology. And when I talk about astrology, I just started learning about who I was through my own personal natal chart. So, astrology is so vast, but I just focused on, well, who am I at my core? So I found Jasmine Boland, I found Channing Nicholas, I found Kirsty Gallagher, and I started looking into, a little bit more information about my sun sign, about my moon sign, and about my ascendant sign. And they're called your big three. And when you look into the zodiac sign of your sun, your moon, and your ascendant, which are all based on the day, the time, and the place that you were born, then you learn so much about yourself. And every single sign of the zodiac has its strengths. Sometimes I call that the positive traits, or the higher rows of that zodiac sign. But every single sign also has their negative traits. I call that the shadow, or the lower road, the less helpful traits. And we can never be all positive or all negative. We're always going to be a balance of both. So when you actually understand who you are at your core, at your sun, moon, and ascendant, so you understand, these are my strengths, these are maybe the things that I struggle with, these are my weaknesses, and these are what maybe are going to pull me down when I'm feeling low, and this is where maybe I'm gonna get myself into burnout if I stay in my negative traits for too long. So when I first got a natal chart reading, which was back in 2019, I realised from one chart reading I learned so much about myself, but I learned that I've been living in the negative traits of my sun, my moon and my ascendant for years. And then I realised how I got myself into burnout, and then all of the other stuff that I've talked about in this video, that's what led me to all of, because I knew where to go. I knew what my struggles were, I knew what my strengths were, but I knew that I was in my weaker side, and I wanted to know how to get into the stronger part of my sun, my moon and my ascendant. But if you don't know what that is, then you don't know who your true self really is. I call it your true self, I call it your soul self, I call it, living in true authenticity with who you came here to be. So in the Practical Awareness membership portal, I have 6 workshops that teach you how to find out all of that information about yourself in like 6 hours, so 1 hour a week. And it's mind-blowing once you understand who you truly are at your core. So many women are in overwhelm because they don't fully understand what's going on beneath the surface within their own body and within their own nervous system, because we don't even understand, well, I certainly didn't understand what the nervous system was and how it functioned in my life and how it was functioning in my life. And it was only when I come out the other side that I could see as clear as day how many women were living with a dysregulated nervous system, because that was showing up as fight, as flight, as freeze. And we are always going to go into fight, flight and freeze, of course we are, but we're not meant to stay there for long periods of time. And when we're staying there for long periods of time, it's because our nervous system is out of whack. And what I realised through my own just journey of self-discovery was how to support and centre my nervous system. And what I figured out through all of the different people and podcasts and YouTube videos and mentors that I met along the way was it came down to, well, lots of things, but let's break it down to 5 simple things. It came down to how you speak to yourself, how when we speak to ourselves in very negative ways, we are lowering our self-esteem. We don't have a lot of self-love. We don't value ourselves at all when we speak to ourselves in that manner. So having low self-esteem and the way we speak to ourselves is one of the things that will set our alarm system going wah, 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 which is, our nervous system, and that creates anxiety in our mind and our body. The next thing that I noticed was I had no boundaries. So I'd say yes when I wanted to say no. I didn't like upsetting people. I was very self-sacrificial. And on the journey that I've been on myself and with Practical Awareness, every single woman I speak to has poor boundaries. They have poor boundaries, and they find it so difficult to set boundaries in place because they feel so bad when they do. So I noticed it was self-esteem. I knew it was a lack of boundaries. Then it was it came down to how much we're overthinking absolutely everything. Why am I overthinking? Why am I getting anxiety from overthinking? Because my nervous system is out of whack, because I am not supporting my nervous system. So there was low self-esteem, there was a lack of boundaries, there was an overthinking, and then there was going into procrastination because everything got so much that you just end up going into freeze mode because you're just so overwhelmed, so you don't start at all. So these looping cycles were just going round and round, and it was well, how do I break the loop? How do I break this loop? And that's what my Practical Awareness did. Well, that's not how, I learned how to break my own loops, but it was through so many things were so simple. But the awareness of I had low self-esteem, the awareness that I had a lack of boundaries, the awareness that I was a massive overthinker, that I was procrastinating on the bigger things in my life, the awareness of me shining a big light on my shadow self were huge, huge moments that helped me to, one, go and find the help I needed and the support through the different things I did, which were always just with the time that I had. And then when I was thinking about, well, how then can I go and help women who were in a similar situation to me? I thought, well, I've got to do it in the same way that I did it for myself, but I wanted to make it easier, more accessible, more bite-sized. It was very overwhelming to go out there and look at what's out there. But when you just go in for one thing with one intention, and the intention has to be, I am willing to recognise that my nervous system is out of whack because I probably have got low self-esteem, because I know I don't speak to myself in a really positive way. I know I've got a lack of boundaries because I'm saying yes far too often when I want to say no, and I haven't got the time to do all of them different things then, people. I am overthinking because I can't get to sleep. I wake up in the night, I can't get back to sleep. The moment I open my eyes in the morning, I'm thinking about every single thing that I've got to do that day, and it's driving me wild. And then because of all of these different things, I'm procrastinating because everything just looks too big and I haven't got time and I don't know where to start. And the final thing for me was, thinking about, well, who am I at my centre? Who am I in my true authenticity? Who am I at my best? And how can I get back to being my best? Because all of them different things contributed to me living as my shadow self all of the time. And my shadow self is not a nice person to be around. But I knew that I could get back to being my more positive self, my more light self. And that's what I did. And that's my passion, to help other people do that as well. I think my final message for this part of the course, the reset, is this: the only person who can reset you is you. You are the only person who can get yourself to feel well every single day. And once we outsource that power to other people, then we go back into that cycle. So go and find the knowledge and all of the great ideas from the people who've walked this path before you. But knowledge and understanding and awareness is absolutely amazing, but without application, it is useless. So things in your life might have brought you to your knees and you had absolutely no control over that, because life will always life. But the thing that you have got control of is this: you can get yourself back up and you can learn about your mind, you can learn about yourself, and you can learn simple tools and simple strategies that you can do every day that take hardly any time at all. And they are going to keep you feeling well every single day. That is what makes the difference. The little tiny things that you do compound over time, like a drip. Think about a drip and put a bucket under, a dripping tap or a dripping, roof. You go the next morning, there's hardly any water in. Oh, it's not that bad. You look at it in a week, oh, there's a little bit more water. You look at that in 2 months, that bucket's half full. And that's what you do when you start learning about yourself at a much deeper level, through learning about your own astrology, by doing the little workshops. And I'm talking 1 hour a week. And then integrating one thing that you learn from that workshop every single day. Once you start doing that and it becomes very part of your routine and it becomes very habitual, you look back in 6 months' time and you will not know yourself. And it's similar to that bucket that you put onto that little drip. It's the drip effect every single day. Do something every single day that's going to fill up your bucket. Because in the end, you're going to look back and think, and not recognise yourself. And I wish you so much luck on your journey.